Hey guys, this is Awesome John 22 coming today with another review. After taking a brief detour to look at Generations Leader Class Jetfire, we finally move on to what was originally going to be our next review, Generations Deluxe Class Chromia, a really nifty figure that reuses rather cleverly one of my favorite molds from back during Transformers Prime, but we'll get to that in a bit later. A great figure, I really love it, and I'm going to tell you why, as per usual. But first, let's get her transformed up into her vehicle mode through the magic of jump cuts. And here we have RC transformed up into her vehicle mode, and she's a frickin' light cycle. I mean, I'm not a huge Tron fan. I think I saw it once. But even I know what a light cycle is and understand that this is a big cultural thing. Like, people know what a light cycle is who've never seen the movie. It's like the USS Enterprise or Spock or the Millennium Falcon. People have heard of it. They know what it is. So it's a big deal that they went and picked this design for her vehicle mode, and it looks great. She's got a really nice topographed Autobot symbol there. She's got these really cool clear connections between her body and her wheels, making it look like the wheels are floating off separately, which is very spiffy. Great canopy. I love that she has red and blue as her primary colors, and she's a light cycle. Just very cool. I do have her gun still in her hand over here. There are other places to put it, as in like right there. But I like it here. It looks kind of like a exhaust port. I think that's pretty spiffy. Great details. You can see like are supposed to be like little boosters here. Even like some more right there. Just very cool. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of other identifiable motorcycle parts on here because I mean it's all futuristic-y and stuff. It's still clearly a motorcycle, but at the same time, it looks like something more than a motorcycle. And it rolls great, of course, though it doesn't stay up on its wheels very easily. There we go, we finally got it, but simplest push will knock it over, which is why it, of course, has a kickstand, which you may have seen me fold up as I picked it up earlier, which allows it to stand just fine. Now, I don't have any other Deluxes ready to compare with Chromia, but I do have a couple of other figures from different size classes, because I want to point out comparing her to other Deluxes isn't what's important. Yeah, she's pretty much right in the middle. She's middle of the road. She is standard Deluxe size. There's really nothing special about her, and she looks good in scale with other things, except that she's a motorcycle. If she was a car at this scale, it would look better. Now, as a figure at this scale, she's great. Don't get me wrong. But a motorcycle should probably be about half this size, if that much. And that's just because I'm considering that this is an alien motorcycle. Which is why, when I'm displaying Prime RC, who also uses this mold, kind of, in her vehicle mode, I usually use the Legends, or what was at that time known as Legends RC, rather than the Deluxe RC. But still, good scale in terms of a figure. Right there in the middle between what is now pretty much our Scout class and a pretty standard size Voyager class. Good size. I like it a lot. But we aren't here to talk about these other figures. We're here to talk about Chromia. So let's get rid of them. And move right into her transformation. We're going to start things off by folding up her kickstand once again. Next, we're just going to come here and we are going to work this back section of her canopy loose. It doesn't really do anything yet, but it will in a moment. Next, we're going to come here to the sides and take these round bits and unpeg them from these light blue pegs underneath, and we will do that on both sides. That loosens up this entire front section. So we're just going to kind of bring it forward, rotate this, bring it up, bring these down, and bring this back, like so. Next up, we're going to take this entire back section, fold it up to give us clearance to bring the arms out, and we can just kind of lower that back down, like so. And this piece is separate. I'm not really sure why, because it works fine just leaving it right there, but hey, it's something, so I figured I'd point it out. Next, we're going to straighten out her legs, which allows us to lower her hips into place, which reveals her head. which was previously just kind of folded down into the torso. This allows us to split her legs at the wheel, which lets us then rotate her feet forward, and then take her wheels and fold them back into these cavities on her legs. Very much like Deluxe RC from Prime. Move that back a little bit, give us a little more room in the legs. There we go. Then we're going to come back here onto her back and just make sure this is down all the way, and then just lower this down into place like so, resting it on her back, giving her a big backpack, but overall not too bad. And there we have Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Chromia in her robot mode. And Chromia looks absolutely great in this mode, guys. I really love it. You can see we still have some red here, but she is now predominantly these two shades of blue. Great detail. You can see some like rivets in her knees. Really great armor paneling. I particularly like her arms. They're a little hollow, but they look dangerous. They look tough. They look durable. She doesn't look like an acrobat. I would say that the original instance of this mold, Prime RC, looks like an acrobat, whereas Chromia looks like a warrior. And I really love that. Zooming in a bit, we can see she's got a really nice head sculpt. It does have light piping, but it's this dark, smoky plastic, so I tried earlier and I couldn't really get any light to come through it. At least not enough that it would really show up on camera. But it is there, and it's nice, and it's this great, it's kind of a slightly more organic version of what we might have seen in G1, and it looks very Gen 1-y, but it also fits this more feminine appearance of this mode. I mean, she looks like some kind of warrior princess, and I just think that's absolutely great. She, of course, does come with a weapon. This thing that looks like something between a blaster and a handheld semi-automatic machine gun. I think it's great. I don't know if I pointed this out yet in the review or not, but on her packaging, which I no longer have because I don't keep packaging, it says she has two guns. She doesn't. She just has the one, which is kind of a bummer because she looks like somebody who would dual wield. She looks bulky. She looks like she's got armor, which is because of the smaller head, but I'll talk more about that later. Just overall, really great looking figure, and I'm really happy with her. In terms of articulation, she can bring her arms out about that far. They can rotate 360, but the kibble gets in the way. She bends at the elbow and rotates at the elbow. It is a ball joint, and also bends and rotates at the ball joint in her wrist. Her head is on a ball joint, but it's fairly limited as to how far it can look up. And her hips are, of course, on ball joints. She rotates at the knee, or bends at the knee, rather, and rotates at the hip. And, I mean, overall, pretty good. No waist articulation because of the head reveal gimmick. No real foot articulation because of the transformation. But especially in her arms, her articulation is more than acceptable. Definitely better than some other recent figures we've been getting. And here's the comparison that I think everyone's been waiting for in one way or another. The originator of the mold, Prime RC, versus Generations Chromia. And you can see some similarities here, but I just want to say right off the bat that despite sharing similarities between the two, despite being effectively the same mold, these figures are so different. You have different molding in the legs. You have additional pieces on the upper arms, entirely different lower arms, new heads. The backpack is strikingly different on Chromia, of course. The wheels are different, as I'm sure you've noticed at this point. Of course, the coloring is all different, but repaints are pretty common. Literally the only pieces that are the same between these two are the toes, the kickstands of all things, the upper legs, the hands, the torso, and this little arm that holds the wheel onto the back. Everything else is different. You will see similarities in the legs, but these legs are completely remolded, despite the fact that you do have the similar knees and the similar fronts. There's not a whole lot here that actually says Prime RC, and while I may be in the minority saying this, but while I feel that Prime RC wears the mold better, I love what they did here, because you have Generations Chromia with the smaller head to suggest a more armored body with a completely different color scheme. It doesn't feel like it's the same mold, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. And a great way of reusing assets and saving cost. This is something that Hasbro should be doing more often. Overall, I really enjoy this figure. While Chromia isn't a character I particularly paid much attention to in the original show, I think she only popped up like once or twice, she's still an icon as she was one of the first female Transformers. And it's really nice that we finally have a version of her that fits in with the Classics / Universe / Generations line, especially one that looks this good. They could have really phoned it in and given us something a lot less interesting, but they ended up giving us a really nice figure, and I really appreciate that. I say she's a definite pickup. I'm not sure you're going to be able to find her retail anymore. She's been around for a while now, but it's definitely a possibility. Check it out, and she's not old enough yet that she should be super expensive online. Either way, it shouldn't be too difficult to find her. So I say go out and pick her up. She especially looks pretty nice next to RC and the next figure which we're going to be reviewing, which, yeah, we'll get to that later this week. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, because I certainly enjoyed making it. Please help me out, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. In the description down below, you'll find links to all the things I'm working on, including a link to my still outdated collections video, but it is there. So check it out, and if you see anything in it that you'd like me to review, let me know, and I will see what I can do. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.